say some days you're gonna win. They say some days you're gonna lose. I tell you, I got news for you. You're losing all the time, you never win. No, if you believe that's how it's gonna be, I better put you down. Get up, you take your look, and come down on the ground. You gotta save me now. You better turn around. And I looked around. I was heading down. Oh, somebody throw me down the line. This is some days you gotta give. This is some days you gotta take. If that's the way it's gotta be. Roll it over and you will see. The city streets are full of people going nowhere, making time. The change from night to day is really only out just along the line. Can't you see the sign? When I looked around,
Good morning.
looked around,
What a busy weekend.
heading down.
906 Daily Show back to you in the studio. We had a fun one all weekend long. You know, Troy, the first Fridays in Troy, man, they had a great start to it, Shotgun Creek, and then got my caricature made, and then the gates just kind of opened up and put us on the sideline, but hope everything wrapped up well in Troy. Then on Saturday, we were over here back at Post Commons in Alton, and we did the Miles Davis Jazz Festival. Really a great show, too. 20 years running. We had a great time there. That's available on RiverBender.com /video as well. We have a busy show for all of you today. Going to be talking to our friends at OSF Healthcare in just a couple of minutes' time. Then after that, we're going to be talking to Rusty Wheat, having our Talking Trash segment and keeping up with the latest of his community cleanup efforts. Then at 10:10, we should be having a conversation with Community Hope Center. And then at 10:35, our small business spotlights continue with Mooneyham Art Collective. I hope you hang out with me in the next 2 hours. We got a nice show, but here's what you need to know at 9:07. Here's top of the hour news. Still have my music on. We'll take you right to Carrollton first. This was the bigger news story of the weekend in prep sports. Lauren Flowers led Carrollton to a commanding. Rusty, we're going to move back to 9:40 today, if that's okay. I'm a little sorry about that. Sorry about all of that, too. I had a little bit of a scheduling mishap. We have a traffic jam outside the studio, but Lauren Flowers did lead Carrollton to a commanding 10-0 victory over Leroy to secure the IHSA Class 1A state softball title at the Louisville Slugger Sports Complex in Peoria. Flowers scattered 4 hits, struck out 6, finishing an undefeated 20-0 season on the mound. How impressive. Megan Camden drove in 3 runs, while Hannah Hewells and Daisy Walls each added 2 RBIs. Carrollton jumped ahead early with 4 runs in the first inning and maintained it throughout, and they prompted a mercy rule finish in the 5th. How about that? The Hawks completed a near-perfect 38-1 season. Congratulations to the team and their dominating season. Anthony Tony Piper, 49, was charged with conspiracy to commit methamphetamine trafficking, a Class X felony by Jersey County State's Attorney Ben Gettin. Here's what we know. These charges arise from a months-long investigation into a meth trafficking ring involving moving the drug from Missouri to Illinois, primarily distributed in Jersey and nearby counties. On the 17th of March, Don Wells was arrested with 330 grams of crystal meth in Piper's vehicle. On June 4th, Piper was apprehended after a high-speed chase near Verdon, crashing his vehicle and fleeing on foot before arrest. If convicted, Piper faces 18 to 80 years in prison. We'll keep you updated as more details do arise. Also, in the news today, a man with an active arrest warrant for parole violation died following a high-speed motorcycle chase and crash in Granite City on the 5th of June. Police attempted to stop the rider near Maryville Road and Parkview Drive, but he fled north at a high speed. The pursuit ended at the intersection of Maryville Road and Pontoon Road when the motorcycle crashed. The Madison County Coroner's Office did confirm the man's death at the scene. The Illinois State Police have taken over the investigation, and Granite City Police say no further details will be released at this time. Let's take a look right to weather now. It is 67 degrees in downtown Alton. Humidity makes it feel like it's 75 out there. Today, partly cloudy and less humid. It will be breezy this afternoon. However, tonight, clear. Smoke from the wildfires in Canada can reduce air quality, so be careful of that. Air quality right now is at 51, which is moderate. Grass is moderate, too, at 12. Mold's low. Ragweed's moderate, and so are tree levels. 81 degrees is going to be the temperature that we'll reach to today. 55 overnight as we head into Tuesday, as we have some early morning fog on Tuesday, some hazy skies, a high of 80, a low of 59 on Tuesday. On Wednesday, more dry time for us, a high of 85, a low of 64 degrees. And then on Thursday, the clouds start to get a little bit more cloudy, a high of 85, again, a low of 66. And on Friday, we are getting some rain this weekend. Some thunderstorms predicted on Friday, a high of 80 and a low of 70 degrees. That's a look at the next 5 days. Here's what's happening now in the heart of the 618. It's 66 degrees in downtown Alton. It feels like 74 out there for time and temperature throughout the day. 618-465-4545. This time powered by Bounce Back, Rehab, Recover, and Return Home. You know, you can also stay up to date in real time, all the time, by going to RiverBender.com/weather or just downloading that RiverBender.com app in your App Store or Google Play today. Hey, while I have you, let me fill you in on our friends at Raging Rivers. You know, 36th season running, 1990 to 2025. You know what that means? Staple status. You know what that means? They're doing something right. You know, you can get season passes for just $69.99, unlimited visits during the 2025 season, family nights, exclusive offers. Oh, duh, free parking. Hey, what about this? Get the Platinum Pass, $10 more, $79.99, unlimited visits too. But here's more. You can bring a friend ticket. Bring a friend ticket. You get family nights. You get early entry Wednesdays, exclusive offers, 10% off food and retail. That's always plus. Plus, the free parking too. You know, Raging Rivers is really wanting you and your family to stop on by where it's always cool, where it's hot, at Raging Rivers Water Park in Grafton. For more information, you can click on the RiverBender.com wallpaper today or just go to RagingRivers.com, and don't forget to tell them that you know who sent you over their way. We'll take a quick break, take a look at downtown Alton on this sunny Monday, and we'll come back with OSF Healthcare next, right here on Roku and Riverbender.
Change your mind. If I could cry a little harder and get a little less sleep at night, if I had 2 dozen roses.
When I got in the car accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone, and over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car, I have a job, there's nothing holding me back anymore.
Do you need to declutter your space? Time to call me, the Queen of Junk. Since 1993, we have grown to be the leader in residential, commercial, and property management junk removal. At Sparks Junk Removal, we are eco-friendly. We recycle, donate, or repurpose items back into our community. Trash is our last resort to the landfill. Plus, with our all-inclusive service, our crews handle everything from labor to lifting and landfill fees. Give us a call or visit our website, sparksjunkremoval.net, to reclaim your space today.
When you need a project done right, on budget and on time, trust Gillahan Concrete. Gillahan handles every kind of project, big and small. Commercial, industrial, residential, from room additions and garages to patios, driveways, and more. Gillahan brings quality and experience to every job. Family owned with over 30 years of service to our community. Call today at 618-781-3914 or visit GillahanConcrete.com.
Looking for the best barbecue in Madison County? Head over to Carver's Barbecue in Godfrey, Illinois. From loaded barbecue nachos to mouth-watering pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more, Carver's serves up award-winning flavors you'll love. Family-owned, Carver's is all about fresh, made in-house dishes served daily. Come visit us at 2716 Groveland in Godfrey, or give us a call at 618-467-9999. Order online, get it catered, or stop by for the best smoked meats around. Where great flavors meet family tradition, you'll find Carver's Barbecue.
Have a rash, pink eye, or urinary tract infection and need care now? OSF On-Call Urgent Care is here to treat you. Start a virtual visit 24/7, whenever and wherever you need it. It's just that easy. OSFOnCall.org/virtual visit.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you're singing that song, and I got a lump in my throat 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. Is this movie
Welcome back to our daily show. It is a Monday morning. 9:14 is the time. Lisa Lawrence is a psychotherapist with OSF Healthcare and a licensed clinical social worker.
Correct.
Did I get all that?
Yes, thank you.
Man, I'm good. No, I'm just kidding. And really excited to have you on the show today, and really just excited to talk about navigating summertime with kiddos. Especially, it seems like both parents and everyone in the household's working as hard as we can, and you still got summer camps and making sure that they get the most out of it.
Right, right.
Well, and how do you want to start the conversation off today? What's the number one kind of step when it starts looking at that summer plan whenever you're talking to your clients or your patients?
I think just allowing grace and space for the family to transition to summertime itself. Like all of it happens so quickly, and then we're in summertime. All of our schedules have changed, and it's kind of like, what are we doing? Where are we supposed to be? How are we getting there? So I think just mindfulness toward that. Like, how are we doing with the schedules? Are we maintaining proper sleep, and are we eating? Are we having water? Do we know where we're going? Those kinds of things.
Well, and it seems like structure is such an important part of that too. Especially if you have kids playing sports in the summer, you got summer ball going on, and then also making sure you still having time to maybe spend as a family, throughout the week if you have it.
Right, I agree.
Well, and now how do you, you kind of lean into if maybe we tried last summer to really have this structure and it was just maybe we overboarded it a little bit on the kiddos and the transition wasn't as smooth as it could have been. Is there something to look at when it comes to kind of a more free-flying approach to summer, and how does that look? Does it really help the family dynamic?
I love this question, and I do lean into this with how do we look at it differently. And I think at the beginning of the summer, trying to kind of sketch out what is important to us, what are the things we really want to experience, and then starting with a list of those things, because sometimes it's an afternoon, sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's like, oh, here's a pocket of time, we can do this activity. I think it's just mindfulness and gathering a list of destinations or supplies, or like, what do we want to do, that kind of thing.
Really cool. And now, whenever you're looking and speaking with families specifically, what age ranges do you see a lot of movement in the most? Because it seems like, when our kiddos get older, they can drive, or, things are getting better. At least you have, some transportation figured out and all of that good stuff. But really, where do you see the strain on younger families the most? What age range, if you could put a finger on it?
I really think it's all of it.
Makes it fair.
It's everyone. I think as the kids get older and they do have their own things that they're doing, being mindful about the connection points. Like maybe we have dinner, or maybe we see each other for breakfast, or maybe we have check-in during the lunchtime, something like that, just to keep the connections of the family together.
I think that's really important too, and it seems like communication is really important when it comes to making sure we're flying through summer and everyone's still intact.
Yeah, and I think it's sharing the days versus an expectation of like checking in. I just think it's the way you frame it, or like, what is the purpose of it is what I mean.
Not making it seem like a job.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's really important. And now when it comes to spending time, outdoors and indoors, because right now I feel like, I don't know for sure, but just from judging, the kiddos in my family, outdoor time's there, but, we do love our video games and our screens, it seems like. What's the balance?
I think it's specific for each family and what's available to them, but I think having just like a designated area, or just like supplies, or even a list of non-screen activities, or a list of indoor activities, because sometimes it's hard to think about things we like to do when we're so disappointed that we're maybe not doing the thing we wanted to do, like go outside or something like that. So I don't know if it's just crafts or games, coloring, Play-Doh, trying to come up with something we might all cook together. It's just really sensory and creativity.
Well, and see, it seems like that's an opportunity, especially for maybe families that are newer to this, transition to have some fun with it, or even the older families to kind of get back to that and make sure that we're reconnecting again.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Really cool. And now, when it comes to schedules, this is where I find everything fascinating, because what's a schedule when you have a couple of kiddos and you got summer camp and baseball and soccer and all the good stuff and work. But how important is it to maybe get ahead of schedule or really find out what's the best way to manage our time?
Well, again, I'm going to lead into how do we look at this differently, and kind of also reflecting on what is not working right now, or like what is a negative outcome pattern in our family dynamic right now.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, and then just kind of like looking at it and thinking. Yeah,
I think sometimes we get in our own heads too, because it's like we prepare for summer and maybe things are going already perfectly fine. We got schedules figured out. Do we do too much sometimes?
Yeah. I think that's where the refocus of purpose, mindfulness, connection comes in. Like, what are we even doing? I feel like is a really great reflection question.
I like that. And, you know, what's the best way? Do you think it's appropriate for parents to maybe have that conversation, just to have a quick one? Hey, how are we looking schedule-wise? You know, as the school year's wrapping up, what's it look like the next couple of months? Is that important, do you think?
I believe so, yeah. That's where the grace and space is. That's kind of like, what do we need to do? What do we need, you know, personally to fill those goals? And what'll make this more meaningful, happy, joyful? How do we get some relief when we're overwhelmed by all the things that we have to do?
Well, and also, too, when it comes to having conversations with, you know, maybe elementary or middle school students about, you know, sleepovers and all of that, you know, I'm sure, you know, for a while it might, you know, for a couple of days for parents, it's like, okay, good, we get to pick up the house again or we can get things back to normal. But it seems like there's always that one couple of week period where maybe we're staying over at our friend's house a little bit too much. What's the best way to not be a helicopter parent and say, I need you home, and to kind of make it this grandiose thing, and also just saying, hey, we want to spend time with you too, and let's go do something as a family?
I love all of the things you just said, because I think it is communication and letting your kiddos know. Like, I love that you're connecting and spending time with your friends. I also want this time with you. So just trying to do that balance.
Well, and also, does new technology help a little bit when it comes to parental control? I don't want to say control, but guidance, because, you know, now we have like the Life 360s of the world. We have all these different measures to make sure our kids are where they need to be and are where they say they're going to be and all that good stuff. But is it sometimes too much? Does it cause stresses on the parents to have those things and almost kind of default to them too much?
I mean, that's a really broad question. I think it's very individual to each parent, their comfort level, their understanding of the technology.
Well, and see, that's just kind of what I'm getting at, though, because it seems like, you know, it's really good, but maybe it causes too much stress sometimes, you know, if you're always constantly checking that instead of just picking up the phone and saying, hey, you know, wanted to make sure you're doing okay, or how's time over at Johnny's house, you know? I
completely agree. Like, knowing where they are, but talking to them about how they're doing are two completely different things.
That's so fascinating to me. Well, and now, what are these SMART goals that I was reading about?
Well, it's a tool, and it helps you kind of like chunk out something you're trying to accomplish. So SMART stands for simple, measurable, attainable, related, and time bound. So
I like the last part of that.
Well, I do too, because it can take something that feels very overwhelming and you just chunk it out to, like, here's a simple task that you can do in this amount of time. And it's really helpful with managing, like in the summertime, possibly like chores with children.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and take me through, you know, how you would kind of go about that. If, you know, maybe it's getting the house all put back together. Yeah. Would you just break it up into like rooms or different, you know, different tasks?
Yes, but I think the simpler, the better.
Gotcha.
Then you get successes and celebrations and like, here, I did this thing, now I can do a thing that I want to do, and then maybe go back to the next one. So cleaning a room might be broken into sections.
Really cool. Well, and now I wanted to ask you about this, and I find this fascinating too, this recreate and replicate the fun things, especially for, you know, like the elementary school students, the model charts, and you were throwing out some examples. The cool from school, bringing that back home. What's your thoughts on this, and do you see that as a good motivator?
I see it as a really good tool that can be helpful. I've seen it be helpful. It's something I talk to like my younger clients about, like what do they really like at school, or how does their teacher help them accomplish their goals during the day, especially in terms of tasks, but also just like emotional regulation or like behavior modification, or like getting through the day. So the more like if you learn that from the child's perspective and ask them, it's kind of like their buy-in, like what's meaningful to them, and then trying to replicate that at home.
Really interesting. You got a moment to stick around with me?
Sure.
We'll take a quick break. Hey, we'll come back with more OSF Healthcare in the studio. You'll stay there. We'll stay here on RiverBender.com and Roku TV.
Throughout all life stages, you need someone in your corner, guiding you on your health and wellness journey. At OSF Healthcare, that's your primary care provider. Your OSF primary care provider is there for every stage of life. Find a provider today at osfhealthcare.org/primary.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
When I got in the car accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone, and over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car, I have a job, there's nothing holding me back anymore.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Oh, welcome back. That's a nice shot of downtown Alton, but I think our studio looks okay too. Back with Lisa Lawrence. She's with OSF Healthcare, a psychotherapist, licensed clinical social worker. And, before we dive back into, getting focused for summer and setting some obtainable, realistic goals, let's talk about your time at OSF. How long have you been with the organization?
I joined in March.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what led to OSF?
So many things. I feel like all the things I did before brought me here. I feel very lucky to be a part of OSF.
Really cool. And, take me through your past experience a little bit.
Well, I've been in a lot of different settings working as a therapist. Most recently in private practice, so seeing just a generalist population. What I was very interested in OSF was just the opportunity to work with elementary school age and middle school kids and their families.
That's really fascinating. And the family, I feel like, is so important about that dynamic too, because it takes a team to get the mission accomplished.
Absolutely.
Well, and now what have you experienced in the couple of months, that you've been at OSF? Take me through the atmosphere and just your thoughts on it.
Everybody is so welcoming. It's really, really wonderful. Just a place very unique, I would say.
And now, are you guys still looking to accept, more younger patients? And okay, perfect.
Yeah, we're still opening. Mm-hmm.
And then what's the number to call?
Oh, I did bring that.
Oh, look at you!
Remember it,
Randy. She's prepared today. He's fist pumping for you.
Our number is 618-474-6240.
Perfect. And we'll link that in an article on RiverBender.com. And, getting back into this, summer swing, and I think it's so important. When does a family normally start to see the freedom reign a little bit more on their children as they get older? Is it kind of those teenage years where maybe you start to see a little less time with your kiddos, or does it happen a little bit younger? Or is it one of those where it's just dependent on the situation?
I think it's individual families, and I also think it's like time management and like prioritization of time together. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and I think it's so important to have these conversations, because going back to this, I think if if you really have this conversation with your spouse, partner, your family, whoever's in charge of the role, it's, do we actually have this structure during the school year? And I think that that's kind of important too, because, sometimes we get so dead set on summer and making sure everything goes right that we think that once school's back in Monday through Friday, well, that's our schedule. And maybe that's not the best we can do.
I do talk to families a lot about that idea and like giving ourselves grace and space to acknowledge that we're overwhelmed or we're overscheduled or like nothing is going as planned. How do we reset? How do we find our purpose? How do we like breathe and have snacks and reevaluate the situation and just kind of like leaning into nothing's going the way that we planned. How do we reevaluate and connect and have, relief from the stress and joy and connection?
This is so cool. And, as we've been talking, about just, how do you lean into the freedom of summer too, and you're not losing all the aspects of it. And it just goes back to really having that communication plan in place and really making sure that you understand your family's dynamic.
Yeah.
Well, and when it comes to, the discipline side of things in summer, this is where I had to ask you, because we all have the one summer where maybe we just didn't get the good grades, to end the school year, or something happens and, there's a little bit of a disciplinary action when it comes to, do we have to, how do we discipline our children and not take away the entirety of their summer? What's that conversation look like too?
I'm going to say, again, leaning into possibly any kind of like behavior tracking our system for success that was in school, and then trying to model that at home, but also kind of leaning in with your child to understand their perspective of whatever the negative outcome was and how they perceive a more positive outcome, and then how do we get there together? Really
fascinating. And I think that's such a really important conversation too, because that can cause a strain, and
absolutely.
I love going back to the SMART goals, because we all have this where like, mom or dad gives us the list, growing up, but I like this idea of really kind of consolidating those, and that way you can celebrate a little bit more and keep everyone motivated too.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now, when you start talking with families, what's the conversation look like from, start to finish? And it doesn't have to be specifically from, summer planning, but just when it comes to the dynamic of our schedules and are we firing on all cylinders? Does it seem like the majority kind of feel like, hey, we're doing everything that we need to be doing at first? And does it take a reflection point to step back and go, maybe we aren't? Or does the majority say, you know what, we don't feel like we're in control at all of our schedule?
I feel like it's probably somewhere in between. It
really?
fluctuates
Okay.
back and forth all the time.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, and now what I wanted to wrap up on too is this, really trying to replicate and recreate some of the incentives that, the kids really look forward to at school. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Take us through, some of those ways that we can kind of model and not really copy and paste, but just kind of take some ins and outs of their classroom. Is it just kind of observing whenever they're there, or hearing about, their progression at school and how they're telling us that, hey, they were on green all week and life's good? Or what's the dynamic look like in that?
I think it's that. I think it's also anything in the school year that the school did to celebrate the kids or give them a break or like do anything like that. So it might be the theme days, which I know can be overwhelming for parents when suddenly we have to dress a certain way every day. But the kids really love that. So it can be something that they can be a part of and creative and think about it. Or maybe it's once a week a certain theme for dinner, or once a week a picnic, even if it's inside, or things like that. Things that they can have some, they get to be creative with it, and the whole family goes together to celebrate.
That's fascinating. Before I let you go, what's your final takeaway as we're transitioning? We're in that transition stage into summer, just for the area families.
I think just leading into how am I feeling? What do I need? What nourishes me? Am I connected? What's going to bring us joy? How do we protect from the stress? Just really trying to be mindful and present and connected.
Really cool. Hey, Lisa, thanks so much for stopping by. Really a pleasure talking with you. We'll link everything in a write-up on RiverBender.com. The time's 9:34. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Rusty Wheat Chain Gang is here. We got more conversations coming down in the next 2 hours, so you stay there. I'll stay here on RiverBender and Roku.
Throughout all life stages, you need someone in your corner, guiding you on your health and wellness journey. At OSF Healthcare, that's your primary care provider. Your OSF primary care provider is there for every stage of life. Find a provider today at osfhealthcare.org/primary.
Cardin Circus is coming to town. It's fun for the whole family. Don't miss out. Get ready for breathtaking aerial stunts and a heart-pounding thrill ride that will have you on the edge of your seat. 2 nights only. See the magic in Jerseyville on May 27th and Highland on May 29th. Bring the whole family and experience the wonder of Cardin Circus. Get your tickets now at glowcircus.com.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
When I got in the car accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone. And over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car, I have a job, there's nothing holding me back anymore.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Living in America. Yeah, got to have a celebration. Living in America.
9:37. Rusty Wheat in the studio, talking some trash. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
How are the cleanup efforts?
They're fewer and farther between, man. The police have put a major police presence out there, and they've really clamped down on these trucks.
I love it.
Well, yeah. Connors, and if you listen to the last month's board meeting, Connors even mentioned to me when he gave his, because he wanted to make sure I heard what he had to say. I think one day they issued like $11,000 in fines.
No kidding.
These trucks in a single day. It's been a strong presence with Madison County, Roxana, and Wood River.
Well, it's good to know that too, because especially at this time when cutting season starts and you got all that, flying around, You've talked about it before that it gets a little bit rougher, but it seems like, with them holding these guys accountable, that's getting better.
Yeah, it is getting better. Now, I can't speak for every community on 255, but I know in my neck of the woods where they're heading to the landfill, I feel like it's getting better. I think Chris Slusher is standing by what he said he was going to do as far as making a strong effort to prevent this. And I'll tell you a funny thing that I noticed the other day, because I notice these trucks every day. Previously, just maybe a month ago or 2 weeks ago, you would see a truck stop at a red light, or a red light would appear, and if there's no traffic, they don't stop.
Yeah.
They just make the continued effort to continue on up the hill or make their turn. Since this strong police presence, I noticed the other day, They were not doing that. They were sitting at the red light, and they were sitting there. Even there was no traffic coming, they were still sitting there, and they waited for the light to be green before they turned.
Well, it should be.
Oh, yeah, and I thought that was very odd because that's the way it is in Missouri.
Right.
But you could turn right on a red in Illinois as long as there's no traffic, but the trucks were not doing it. And I thought that's really odd. Then I noticed another truck doing it, and then I noticed a third truck doing it. So I called Roxana Police Chief and talked to him, and he explained to me that he believed it was because of the heavy police presence. And so they're putting all their safety precautions in on a voluntary basis, I guess.
That's really good.
Yeah. The trash is just simply not as a lot of the trash. It used to be like 70% of the stuff I picked up was coming off the trash trucks. Now it's kind of like a 50-50 with pedestrians.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if pedestrians have just gotten so lax or the trash trucks have gotten better, but either way, you can kind of tell where you pick up, McDonald's wrappers and things like that. That's coming from pedestrians that are thrown out.
I just don't understand. I've never understood somebody that just throws stuff out their window.
Yeah.
That's one thing that really pisses me off. I've never understood what it's like to just go, you know what? I got a McDonald's bag right here, and I'm just going to heave-ho it out the window going 50.
Well, I mean, butane lighters, ballpoint pens. I don't understand. I mean, there's trash receptacles for that. Why just say, okay, this pen has gone dry or this lighter doesn't work, let me just chuck it on the ground. It just makes no sense. That plastic stays there forever. So
That's just dumb.
But it has been interesting. I found a homeless camp. I'm always finding places where the homeless live, and I don't like doing homeless cleanups because they come back and they take advantage of your generosity. But I come across one the other day. I was cleaning up, and it was pretty, and I didn't really know what it was. I thought I saw some animal moving around. It was a dog.
Wow.
And I paid more attention, walked closer, and there was a guy laying in there in the weeds, too, and he got up. He had the dog with him, and he was on his way. He said he was walking from Alton to Edwardsville, which is not too uncommon.
Yeah.
A lot of times they check in with the probation people, and
gotcha.
so they don't have means of driving, so you see him oftentimes walking down the highway towards Edwardsville. And this particular guy, he was a little apprehensive. I guess he thought I was going to try and steal his bicycle or his dog or something. And,
you're just here for the trash.
Yeah, I was picking up trash along the road and just happened to come across him. So he got up and he looked like he didn't have anything except for the clothes that he had on. So I give him and his dog both a bottle of water. His dog looked like he appreciated it more. I felt so sorry. I mean, I know it's compassion should run towards a human, but I thought, how did this poor dog end up in this situation?
Oh, no.
I can only think this guy's probably going to trade this dog for.
Oh no, I don't think so, man. They keep those dogs.
I hope so. I hope so because I was,
you never know. You just hope for the best.
Well, you hope for the best, but you never know what you're going to find. It's really interesting, and I'm continue to find these shell casings coming from the gun range.
Really?
What used to be the Winchester? I don't know if it's called the Winchester Club anymore, or is it
Olin?
Is it Olin? Yeah, but I don't know if that's called the Wayland shooting range.
I don't know.
At any rate, they have a shooting facility out there where people can take their weapons and practice shooting at targets, and I continually find those boxes that contain those shell casings up along the interstate.
That's wild.
Yeah, it is weird. So, I mean, I know the people that are listening are like, oh, boy, this guy's just boring as heck. But I find it kind of interesting. You find so much different stuff.
Well, you do, but it just because to me it just doesn't make sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, to me, like, like the McDonald's wrappers and things, but when you're getting like chunks of styrofoam like you were getting, that massive one. And
it's sometimes the local fishermen, they'll find a place on the side of the road where they feel like they could dump their stuff, their fish waste, and you'll see it, it's once or twice, but then you see it, the same thing happen 3 or 4 times. You think, man, why did they just decide to take this place? Is it a safe place to pull over and dump it, or what?
I don't know. It's just amazing to me, too. You don't do it while you're at the,
And I continually find furniture and stuff, and that's a little more understanding because there's a cost involved with getting that disposed of.
Yeah,
and then they're forced to make decisions where they could feed their family or dispose of the trash, and oftentimes that trash will just end up alongside the road.
Well, and it's good, though, because people don't realize, I don't think, it's still that, I mean, even though we come on the show for the last 2 years, that there's somebody that's still going out there and taking care of this, and if we didn't have, I mean, if you weren't out there, if we didn't have the folks like in Godfrey, that guy is always out there now picking trash up, it would look like crap.
Well, I'm not the only one. What I'm extremely happy about and what I'm most prideful about is that I've been reached out by, I've worked with Worldwide Technologies reached out to me, and I worked with them one day.
Yeah.
There's another electronics firm, and I mentioned before, I apologize, I can't think of the name of it, but they reached out to me, and I worked with them one day. the Wood River Moose.
Oh,
have
yeah.
employees that I'm working with them, and I work with the Walmart crew. So it's pretty cool on a sense, that I don't need help from anybody. The way I look at it, I like to just do things on my own, but when someone does decide they want to get involved and help, and they have an area, it's really a cool feeling.
100%.
Yeah.
You got a moment to take a break with me?
Oh man, I always got time.
I will come back with more of Rusty and Talking Trash right after this on Riverbender and Roku TV.
Oh no, another bad headache? Yeah. Maybe it's time to see your doctor.
OSF Healthcare can handle all of your family's primary care needs, including diagnosing health issues or referring you to a specialist. Schedule an appointment today.
For the biggest selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in the Riverbend, visit AltonToyota.com or stop by their location on the Homer Adams Parkway in Alton. Winner of the prestigious President's Award, Munganast Burkhardt Alton Toyota knows how to treat their customers, and they will help you find the vehicle that is perfect for you. For years, Munganast Toyota has been a fixture in the Riverbend, and now Munganast Burkhardt carries the tradition. New name, but the same great service you've come to expect.
Yo, what up? It's Mike Keith, the proud graduate of Lewis and Clark Community College. I got my start in broadcasting and now I work all over the country. I discovered my path in media, but I could have been an electrician. Or I could have been a nurse.
Maybe not.
With over 20 years of experience, Wilson's Tree Service has the expertise to handle all of your tree care needs. Licensed and fully insured, their team of experts are dedicated to providing reliable service. Plus, with a 24-hour emergency service line, Wilson's will always be there for you. Don't risk tackling that timber by yourself. Trust the local professionals at Wilson's Tree Service. Visit treeservicealtonil.org to get started today. You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
And this is what she said, oh, there ain't no rest for the wicked. Money don't grow on trees. I got bills to pay, I got mouths to feed. There ain't nothing in this world for free. I know I can't slow down, I can't hold back, though you know I wish I could. I know there ain't no rest for the wicked.
9:46, welcome back, Daily Show. Rusty back in the studio.
I got my Talking Trash hat on today.
I got my sweatshirt upstairs. I was going to put it on, but it was getting sticky down here.
Yeah, B&B Custom Gifts. I always like to give them a shout out over there. James does an excellent job.
How's your friend Denise?
Wonderful. She just got back from Florida. I think she's probably got a suntan. I talked to her wife this morning, dropped off some purple bandanas. I've been running a special, my own private special. Chain Gang has been running their own special. If you switch over to Sparks Trash, Junk and Trash Removal, I will give you a purple bandana.
There you go.
Denise's favorite color. It matches the colors of her advertising. And so, yeah, I started this campaign for the month of June, and so far no one's taken me up on it. But I have given all of her employees purple bandanas.
They're matching.
Yeah, it's cool. I've had their drivers, Tommy reached out to me, and I had a couple other people reach out to me, and they think it's really a cool idea. So I gave them the bandanas, and I'm hoping that more people will see that, and they think, damn, I need to get Sparks Trash Service just so I can get that bandana.
That's right. Else. Well, Rusty's giving it to you.
Yeah, Chain Gang. I didn't tell Denise I was going to do it, unfortunately. And I'm sure she had customers probably wondering, how come I don't get a purple bandana? But that's not Denise's deal, so you can't hammer her. It was my thing. I just accidentally ordered too many bandanas, and a lot of them were the color purple. So I thought purple, it would be a good opportunity to promote Sparks Trash Service. I love everything that she does, and so that was it. So yeah, if you want to switch over to the Sparks Trash Service, you contact me and I will get you a purple bandana for doing it.
I love it, man. I just like that you guys have fun doing it too.
Yeah, I like to have fun with her. I got to tell her, man, if I get too overbearing back, I'm not an employee, so I could do this silly ass stuff, or I could do this stuff. And if I get too overbearing, just please tell me. You know what I mean? I apologize for my language.
Oh, don't apologize.
I know sometimes I get carried away. I get up here and I just get so comfortable, like I'm talking amongst friends.
That's how you should be. That's why I don't care anymore. I really don't. I got to the point where I would much rather have it be organic, and if someone gets offended, then God love them. You know?
There's an extent to it. Yeah. But yeah, so Denise she's a good person. I like her a lot. I'll do what I can. One of these days, I'm going to ride with one of her drivers.
You need to do a ride along.
Yeah, I want to. But the only thing is, they don't have those 2-hour segments. I don't want to be locked in. I don't want to be locked in for 8 hours. I can get a lot of trash picked up by myself in 8 hours. So
That's true. You don't want to get a full work day out of it.
Yeah. But I do enjoy her person. Now I've started something with the big box.
Yeah.
The big blue. I have a bunch of blue bandanas as well. And you know what's really cool?
What's the big blue? I don't know anything about this.
The Republic Trash Service. And the reason I say that is because when I first started this, I was picking up trash. I was so mad at those drivers. I'd flip off the drivers, exchange some words with them, once in a while. Hey, I've been attacked. I've been personally, physically assaulted by one of the drivers. I've had my safety equipment destroyed by one of the drivers. I've had numerous verbal exchanges with people from the landfill. And that was all when we first started doing this. Because, and you got to get their attention, I guess. I don't know. That's right. But I haven't gone anywhere. And since then, now, it's so cool. The other day, a Sparks truck drove by. And the Sparks trucks waved, and they were honking at me, and I was waving back. And then right after that, a Republic truck came through. An MBI truck came through, and they did the very same thing.
That's cool.
They honked and waved, because I try to make eye contact with all those drivers, because we're all in this together.
Right. You're a team.
And they don't want to be embarrassed about what was going on, and I don't want them to be embarrassed. I want them to acknowledge that, look, man, there's a need for this. All we have to do is appropriate some provisions to clean it up. Right. We should welcome this business, but we should welcome the idea that we have to clean it up right afterwards. Immediately.
Right.
People shouldn't suffer to lay around this trash laying around. So as long as that in mind, and I always Kurt Prenzler called me the other day.
Really?
You know Kurt Prenzler?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that guy. He lost the election, and I ran into some issues, some legal issues, and it was about my word and someone they could stand up for. And Kurt and I went round and round about taking money from MBI trucking firms. And no one has been harder on Kurt than me.
Yeah, you were pretty tough.
Yeah. He called me and offered assistance. Out of the blue, he said, hey, if you need someone, no one knows better how you work than me. And that just stunned me, because it just humbled me, because
good man.
Yeah, I mean, every now and then you learn these lessons while you're picking up trash, and it's got nothing to do with trash. It's about the humanity of people and how good some people, and they could teach you lessons that you just didn't see coming.
I think that's why I like talking about this stuff so much, because you're right. It's more of these segments. Yeah, we talk about trash and how you guys need to quit being litter bugs and just pick up your stuff. But the more important thing is it's like the life lessons you get out of talking to some of these people too. It's really fascinating.
The veterans, the people that you thought that you would never speak to again because you made them so mad they were able to turn the cheek and offer you assistance, and that just humbles me, because I'm not that good of a person. You know what I mean? I'm trying, but when you see when things like that happen, or when a veteran offers you assistance, or just someone says, hey man, do you need some trash bags, or would you like some water, that just kind of restores your faith and everything. But like I said, the trash is not as bad as what it once was. I think Slusher's made an impact. The police have definitely made an impact. Hats off to Connors and his staff, and Roxana's staff as well, and Brad Wells and his staff in Wood River. So yeah, I'm very optimistic, and I want to put a plug in for this week's cleanup. We had a guy, I ran my dryer broke down. I didn't know what to do. A gentleman by the name of Tony Roberts from Roberts Appliance in Wood River. He came out on a Sunday and helped me out.
Really?
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's amazing. Business, every now and then you're running with somebody and they say, hey, I know what you do and I appreciate you. I want to help you out.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, it humbles me, just like Kurt Prenzler and a few other things, the veterans and a few other things. I get humbled pretty easy, but it doesn't happen as often as I wish everybody else could experience.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's really cool, though, that you're making these connections and all that stuff's coming from really just an issue that wasn't really talked about, needed to be, and that's trash.
I don't want to get too, I don't want to say throw the religious card at anybody, but it just dawned on me one day that a lot of this stuff is way beyond my capacity. Yeah. I had no control over this, and it's interesting to think, well, this could be written off. This is coincidence. I have a lot of coincidences happen, you know what I mean? So I truly believe that if you're willing to put the good work in, that you'll see the good work will come back to you.
100%.
some
100%. Now, what are you doing this summer? What's the cleanup play? You got anything big? What the hell?
No, I've kind of refined my efforts just to Roxana, Wood River, and Bethalto only now. Politics is too heavy, man. You get into those people in Edwardsville and stuff, and it's a little different animal over there. And it seems like no one's really interested in getting it solved as much as they are complaining. But when I go to Wood River, I got Mayor Tom Stalkup and Chief Brad Wells come out and work with me.
Right, that's
you
cool
know what
as
I mean?
hell. Yeah.
Marty Reynolds, Roxana is using some of their money for cleanup efforts to buy barricades and stuff for me, so I could use them to clean the roads.
Love it.
You know, and Gary Bose from Bethalto, he does an excellent job. I went out and pointed out an area that they have a road that's responsible for that continues to get dumped on. It wasn't too shortly later, he sent me a picture that they've now got a camera installed out there.
Wow.
You know.
Well, see, that's good.
Yeah. So little things like that, it just encourages me, and it happens all the time, man.
I love it, man.
All the time.
Well, I love how these segments went from really just kind of letting people know how bad things are to now just talking about some growth. I mean, that's cool.
Complaining, flipping off drivers, and doing stuff that amounted to nothing. And that's the only thing that drove me crazy. So many people want to complain, and I was one of them. They just want to complain. But if you actually, put it aside and actually get out there and do some work, you'll find the goodness of people is overwhelming.
Yeah, 100%, Rusty. Yeah. And, before we take a break for top of the hour news, is there anything else we need to talk about for right now?
No, man, I'm done. I hope I don't bore all of you when I come back.
This is the greatest. I love having you on the show because we get to talk natural and just have a good time. It's
very positive. It used to be not so much.
No, that's true. That's true. Now we don't have the negativity as much.
Yeah, but I see things in a different light.
I miss it. I do miss some of the steam, but that's okay. Hey, Rusty, always good talking to you. 9:55, a little bit of change. We're going to take a quick break. Don Matheny is going to join us next right here on RiverBender.com and Roku TV.
Village Dispensary has the best deals in Godfrey, Illinois with specials 5 days a week. Mondays, roll in the week with 20 to 30% off select pre-rolls. Tasty Tuesdays, enjoy 20 to 30% off select edibles. Waxy Wednesdays, enjoy 20 to 30% off select concentrate and vape brands. Thirsty Thursdays, sip and save with 20 to 30% off all drinks. Flower Friday, grab like 3.5 gram flower deals starting at just $20. Village Dispensary, come meet your best buds.
When you need a project done right, on budget and on time, trust Gillahan Concrete. Gillahan handles every kind of project, big and small. Commercial, industrial, residential, from room additions and garages to patios, driveways, and more. Gillahan brings quality and experience to every job. Family owned with over 30 years of service to our community. Call today at 618-781-3914 or visit GillahanConcrete.com.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible. Covering auto, home, business, and life insurance, our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
With over 20 years of experience, Wilson's Tree Service has the expertise to handle all of your tree care needs. Licensed and fully insured, their team of experts are dedicated to providing reliable service. Plus, with a 24-hour emergency service line, Wilson's will always be there for you. Don't risk tackling that timber by yourself. Trust the local professionals at Wilson's Tree Service. Visit treeservicealtonil.org to get started today.
Looking for the best barbecue in Madison County? Head over to Carver's Barbecue in Godfrey, Illinois. From loaded barbecue nachos to mouth-watering pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more, Carver's serves up award-winning flavors you'll love. Family-owned, Carver's is all about fresh-made in-house dishes served daily. Come visit us at 2716 Groveland in Godfrey, or give us a call at 618-467-9999. Order online, get it catered, or stop by for the best smoked meats around. Where great flavors meet family tradition, you'll find Carver's Barbecue.
You won't find a better health club than Nautilus Fitness Center. More cardio, more free weights and equipment, more classes, a swimming pool, and more. If you're serious about your health and want to make a change, then stop thinking about it and visit Nautilus Fitness Center on Industrial Drive in Alton. Don't fall for the hype you get from the other health clubs. Nautilus is the Riverbend's premier health club. Has been for years and will be for years to come. Get to Nautilus Fitness Center and get started on a healthier new you.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville.
I set the thermostat so my house would be warm when I got home from work, but the kitchen is still cool.
At Barrett Heating and Cooling, we stand behind every Linux system we sell.
My dealer said he'd take care of everything.
At Barrett Heating and Cooling, we understand everyone wants prompt, professional service.
Turns out it wasn't my furnace after all, just a little something blocking the vent.
Pretty smart dog if you ask me. For service you can count on, call Barrett Heating and Cooling.
Lennox, innovation never felt so good.
Picture This and More has been a trusted name in the Alton community for more than 30 years, with the last 3 being right here on Broadway. We specialize in quality framing at affordable prices. We also feature works by local artists because we're proud of our community. If you have valued treasures to display and preserve, we're sure to have the perfect fit with our large selection of custom framing and display options. Whatever color, shape, or size, Picture This and More has the look you need. Stop by today and let us help you with your next project.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Another serenader and another long-haired band. Today I am your champion. I may have won your hearts, but I know that
10 o'clock flat in downtown Alton, Hardless 618 on this 9th day of June. You're watching Our Daily Show on Roku TV and RiverBender.com. CJ Nasello here with you. Now with Don Mathenia, Love and Blood in the Heartland. It's more than just a collection, and it's a realization of this really cool dream. Don, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
I'm excited to be here. I'm excited about the book. I've had so many people encourage me over the years to get a lot of these things published. I've been writing in earnest since my college days, so we're talking mid-60s here.
Wow, that's a lot of writing.
One of my college professors there, Dr. Ann Bernard, really got me started. I had my first poem published in the college. I don't know. It's a little publication of the English department called The Vortex, and actually that same poem is in this book right here. I was just telling you, and I'll tell the people watching here, just got my copy today. Individual copies people have been ordering for the last week. They're getting like in a few days, like 2, 3. My bulk copies aren't in yet, so that's how new this is.
Yeah.
But I thought the most interesting thing for everybody would be if I just share some of what is the topic or what the book's about.
Please do so. I think that's definitely the best way.
Okay, well, I'll start out by introducing the star of the book is right here. That's my dog Snippy, and and there's a story. He was a stray. He came to our house, and when I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I was about 4. And he was actually stolen by some people, and he found his way back home. But yeah, this is
he must have liked home.
He apparently did, and he looked like he'd had a rough time of it. He was kind of beat up. I don't know what he went through coming back, but I mean that story is probably going to be one of the favorite poems in the book for a lot of people. And Mayor Mike Morrow wrote my foreword, and he concentrated on that. He loved that. He loved that. But that was my buddy. Of course, that's after he came back. I was quite a bit older there, but he first came and was stolen away from us when I was like 4 or 5 years old.
Oh wow!
But a lot of the stories are centered around my growing up in Pike County. I was actually born in Pike County. My dad pastored a church in Pearl, Illinois, and this would have been 1945. I think he came there in 2 years before I was born. I think 43. But anyway, Pearl was actually a booming town at that time. There's not much left of it now, but a lot of river towns that's happened
Same way,
too.
yeah.
But Pearl, Illinois, some of you might know this if you know anything much about Pike County, but this shows you how Pearl got its name. Pearl buttons.
Really?
Pearl buttons. There was a button factory there, and the buttons were stamped out of mussel shells.
Are you serious? That's incredible.
Yeah, so mussel shells, they're just beautiful on the inside. Yeah. And used to be a lot of the roads around there, they didn't use gravel. They had the mussel shells that had the stamps out of them. That's what they paved the roads with.
No kidding.
Yeah, they're like the dirt roads.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and like one of those roads where even when I was growing up, I could find a lot of those old shells with the holes stamped in them on the road to Abby Nelson's Fish Market, which is down at the river. But
that's so cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
And that it spells out Pearl. I did that up closer so you can see the buttons
pearls,
better.
yeah.
But that was actually posted on the wall in the filling station at Pearl, which just closed recently. I didn't know that until I went over there on Memorial Day. I was going to my parents' and grandparents visit the graves, which is a Green Pond Cemetery, which is there in Pike County. And they were closed. I was very sad. I was going to stop in there and talk to those people. But I hope that doesn't get lost in the shuffle somewhere. That needs to be preserved.
I 100% agree with you. That's pretty darn cool.
Yeah. And when I was almost 2, I was just short of 2 years old. It was in August, I think, 21st. The date's in the book. We had a flash flood in Pearl, and it was just an enormous tidal wave of water that came in, and our house was right by a creek there. And I can't explain how all the water came in or where it came from, but it was not a river flood. It was a flash, not per se. It wasn't like the whole area of the river came up. It was a flash flood, so it went down pretty quickly, as quickly as it came in. But it came in late in the evening, and it came in so fast, people had no time to get out. Absolutely no time to get out. And so I've heard these stories from my mom and dad and various people. And my Uncle Harry, actually, my mom's brother, took a lot of great pictures of the aftermath of the flood, which I have no idea what happened to those pictures, sadly.
Yeah.
But cars buried in sand, you just barely see the tops of the cars, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But people had to climb trees, get on top of buildings. They had no time to escape at all. And so my mom said she could hear all through the night. She went to her mom and dad's place. This is my grandfather holding me.
Oh, wow.
And that would have been earlier than the flood. That obviously I wasn't very old there. But she went to their house with me, and my dad and my 2 older brothers stayed at our house to try to save things if they could. The water was coming up so fast. But my mom said she could hear people calling back and forth to each other, singing songs, saying, "Hey, Joe, are you all right?" "Yeah, I'm okay. How are you?" And like keeping each other company because they couldn't come down. They had to stay in trees all night or on top of buildings, wherever they could get. and nobody died, which was amazing.
That is amazing.
but it did tremendous amount of damage, and it pretty much wiped our family out. But my brothers were stacking up furniture downstairs and some of the nicer things and trying to get them up out of the water. But it didn't help. It flooded the entire downstairs. And my brother Paul, he just told me this recently. He's 93 now. And he just told me just a couple of weeks ago, from the upstairs window, he opened the window to look out at the flood, and he reach out the window and stick his hand in the water.
Oh, wow.
But our house was located right where the flood was coming through, and it was like quivering. A lot of houses got washed off the foundations, and my dad was really afraid that was going to happen to ours. And of course, he was praying. Everybody was praying.
I bet.
And a house that had washed off the foundations came roaring in and lodged between two trees right in front of our house and broke the current. There's a poem in there about that. And there's a poem about the aftermath of the flood and about a grocer and what happened to him and how he ended up sitting in a rocking chair with water up to his neck. That poem's in there.
Well, and this is what I find so fascinating. You're telling your life story through these poems.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
This is what I find, and it's a unique story too. And what I find so fascinating is one that I think people can connect with just from maybe similar circumstances or what have you. And I think that's really important.
I think so, and I really hope so. My grandfather was a blacksmith and also
no way.
Oh yeah.
I've been talking about. I had a blacksmith and his daughter, who's now a blacksmith, on the show about a year, and ever since then I've been so fascinated with this. I have no talent at all, Don. I'll be honest with you. That's why I talk into a microphone.
Well, you can talk, CJ.
That's it. That's all I got, Don. I'm telling you, it's all downhill after this. But whenever you look, especially at old blacksmithing and all the older work and just all the time that went into, even with my great grandfather, they were glass blowers and seeing some.
Oh yeah.
It's just crazy to see, the old and really just the time and really the dedication into each piece. And I'm sure with your grandfather, it was the same way.
Oh, it was great. My aunt and uncle had a little movie theater in Pearl, of all things.
Really?
And when I was 2 years old, my mom's sister, my Aunt Laura, actually took me down to the theater to see Bambi, which was re-released in '47.
Really?
It was not the original release; it was re-released. And I wouldn't sit down. I'd never been in a movie theater before, and all I remember, she was standing in the back holding me, and a big hoot owl on the screen, and it started going hoo like really loud and flapping, and I started screaming. She had to take me out, and I still remember that. And there's a poem about that.
I love this. Do you got a moment to take a break with me?
Yes,
Let's
absolutely.
take a quick break so I can pay a bill or two. It's 10:11. We'll come back with more of this Love and Blood in the Heartland. Don Matheny of the book, out now. You can get it. Where can we get
Amazon. It will be available other places later, but right now it's just Amazon.
And we'll link that in an article at a later time. But we'll take a quick break. We'll be back in the studio right after this on Roku TV and Riverbender.
When I got in the car accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone. And over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car, I have a job, there's nothing holding me back anymore.
Do you need to declutter your space? Time to call me, the Queen of Junk. Since 1993, we have grown to be the leader in residential, commercial, and property management junk removal. At Sparks Junk Removal, we are eco-friendly. We recycle, donate, or repurpose items back into our community. Trash is our last resort to the landfill. Plus, with our all-inclusive service, our crews handle everything from labor to lifting and landfill fees. Give us a call or visit our website, sparksjunkremoval.net, to reclaim your space today.
When you need a project done right, on budget and on time, trust Gillahan Concrete. Gillahan handles every kind of project, big and small. Commercial, industrial, residential, from room additions and garages to patios, driveways, and more. Gillahan brings quality and experience to every job. Family owned with over 30 years of service to our community. Call today at 618-781-3914 or visit GillahanConcrete.com.
Looking for the best barbecue in Madison County? Head over to Carver's Barbecue in Godfrey, Illinois. From loaded barbecue nachos to mouth-watering pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more, Carver's serves up award-winning flavors you'll love. Family-owned, Carver's is all about fresh-made in-house dishes served daily. Come visit us at 2716 Groveland in Godfrey, or give us a call at 618-467-9999. Order online, get it catered, or stop by for the best smoked meats around. Where great flavors meet family tradition, you'll find Carver's Barbecue.
Have a rash, pink eye, or urinary tract infection and need care now? OSF On-Call Urgent Care is here to treat you. Start a virtual visit 24/7, whenever and wherever you need it. It's just that easy. OSFOnCall.org/virtual visit.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Welcome back. 10:14, a little bit of change on this Monday morning. It is the 9th day of June. Don Mathenia back in the studio. Love and Blood in the Heartland is out now on Amazon.com. And really, it's just a reflection of your life. And we're just talking about all these different stories. And what I find so fascinating is that you were able to gather all of this and really tell this story and remember them all. Because I've always thought, how cool would it be if we all kind of just wrote little notes about things that happened to us, and then we put it all together at the end, and that's the book. But you actually have done it.
Well, I have, and it's not through my entire life
Right.
as far as that goes. But by the way, Mike Morrow, the mayor, he wrote a book called Proudly Made in Flint, Michigan, which is his entire life up to the time he joined the Army. And it's really a great book, and he does that. But anyway, this is my dad who was fishing with my grandfather's nets.
Wow.
And unfortunately, my grandfather is not in that picture. But
that's cool.
Yeah, it's and like I said, he was a blacksmith, which unfortunately, gave him cataracts back when nobody knew what to do about cataracts. Right. And that's actually covered in one of the the poem that I actually wrote that was published by Blackburn in the Vortex, called Illinois Rivertown Elegy. It covers that with I won't say anymore because it's kind of an overview.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but and this is my mom and dad and me, and that's our house in Staunton, Illinois, which is where I grew up. We moved out of Pearl after the flood because basically we just lost everything we had.
That's nice. What a nice photo, though. You guys had a nice looking family too.
Well, hey, we did, and I've got pictures of with my brothers that are in the book also, and this is me and the love of my life, my high school sweetheart, Rosetta Nowell, and that was taken at her prom. And I was actually attending college in Springfield, Missouri at that time, and we got married. And I moved back to Staunton and enrolled at Blackburn College.
Wow!
And I had a almost 30-year teaching career. This is what I looked like when I started teaching.
That's right. Okay. I love this.
In Carrollton, Illinois.
I like the style you had, Don.
Hey, man.
Look at that. That's cool. I like that one. Well, and you had you taught for 30 years, right?
Yes.
Well, teaching was a major part of I remember speaking to you before.
I loved teaching. I loved students. I mean, that was my mission. It didn't feel like work. You definitely don't go into teaching, especially when I did, to get wealthy. That's my first teaching job was like $5,000 a year.
Really?
That's even hard to believe now.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even wrap my head around that.
But But anyway, yeah,
wow.
I loved it. There's a lot of my original artwork in the book also.
Oh,
Here's
wow. This
one
is
of them,
beautiful.
a picture, and there's a poem about this, too. It's my dad at Jenny Lake,
This is cool.
Wyoming, Grand Teton National Park.
You got digital copies of these? By chance?
Well, no.
Okay.
They're I could get you something. They're in the book. This is a picture I took at Grafton on the waterfront. That's in the book.
Grafton.
And
wow.
Yeah, and I really like that picture.
Look at that. I mean, the detail on these are just fantastic, Don.
Well, and that actually, I kind of messed with that a little bit, so it looks more like a painting than the original photograph. But there's a lot of my art in the book. It's not all serious, by the way. Oh, I will tell you this about one other thing, going back to Rosetta. My wife passed away in 2015.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And so one of the poems I wrote, my job with NFIB at the time, which I'm great friends with a lot of those people, give them a lot of kudos in the book, but I was on the road a lot. The job entailed a lot of driving, and there's a poem called Persistence of Regret, and it's about how difficult it is to keep your mind on positive things when you're stuck on the road for hours.
Yeah.
And you're coming home to an empty house.
Man.
Yeah, and but there's funny things too, like a poem I wrote about turkey buzzards.
Turkey buzzards.
And I was
I like the roadkill for $6. That's pretty fun. I like that one.
And I wrote a poem about the turkey buzzard, and it just starts. I just was driving down the road like I was this morning on the way here, down the river road, and there's all these thermals, especially on a sunny day, and the heat rising, and they just float around. And God bless the turkey buzzard, happiest critter I know. Floats around on thermals, eats dead stuff by the road. I mean, what a life, right?
That's true.
So
I love this. Well, and before I'm getting distracted because I know that Sun Studios. I've been there multiple. I love that place. I think that is so cool.
It's great.
So whenever you're writing about this is what I like is the diversity of your poems too. There's a lot of different types.
Oh well, there is. There's a ton of it, and it just it's. One of the things I put in the book, just some of my comments, is like my writing, whether it's the songs, because I've written a lot of songs, and quite a few of those are in the book too.
Wow.
And I've been able to perform some of them that I've written at churches, and actually some secular stuff I did way back when to a large audience, about 2,000 people. That was exciting. Wow. But anyway, it's just it's all over the map, and like I said, that's the way I like it. It's just I think of something, I get an idea, I grab a piece of paper, and I just start writing stuff down.
That's really cool.
So it's some of it's philosophical, a lot of it's just funny. I wrote a poem called Velvet Elvis. If anybody knows what a Velvet Elvis painting is, and it's not about the paintings, it's an ex-girlfriend's complaint about her boyfriend, calling him a Velvet Elvis. So anyway, that's a funny one.
That's pretty good. I like that one.
Yeah, beneath the brilliant colors, her soul is cold and black. So, but anyway, like you said, the Sun Studios, and big fan of all the Sun records the Lovin' Spoonful came out with a song called Nashville Cats, which I really like. And they're saying the Sun records are from Nashville. No, they're not. No, they're from Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah, that's right. But anyway, I love that. And I do have a lot of songs. A lot of them are gospel songs, if you want to call them that. There's one called It's a Jesus Thing. Pardon me, It's a Jesus Thing. One that I wrote back in 2004 called Vision of Jesus. I've been able to perform that one a number of times, and a number of others. But anyway, hopefully I'll get to do more of the performance part of it.
I think you will.
I'm going to be accompanying Nikki, Music in the Park.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
to do karaoke at Abigail's this Thursday. So.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that. But and as I told you before we started here, I wrote a poem, which I'll read it if you want me to, or you can read it.
I would love for you to read this.
Okay.
But I would like to go out with this. So why don't we do this? How can we get your book now? It's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. There's a QR code, but if you just go to Amazon, go to the book section, put Love and Blood in the Heartland, it'll come up, or you put my name, it'll come up. And I am going to be doing book signings. I know I'm going to be doing one, hopefully, if my books come in time. I think that'll be no problem, but that'll be June 21st in Carrollton. But I plan to do one in Grafton, Jerseyville. I'd like to set something up in Alton. I don't have any idea for sure where to go with that. With that one, I might need some help on that one. Staunton, where I graduated from high school. Carrollton definitely is a big one, and that's the 21st.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure, but we'll get the word out best we can when we have book signings coming up.
100%. And Don, thank you so much for sharing. This was such a great conversation. It was really a fascinating one, and I wish you nothing but success with the book. I know you will.
Thank you.
And now, with that being said, you did write this for the Riverbend, and I would love for you to take it away.
All right. And if there's anything in here you don't recognize, just Google it, okay?
Yeah.
And it's called Let's Start with Jacques. Folks in the Riverbend knew him as Jacques. His title means father, père, father, Marquette. Explorer, cartographer, missionary, priest, he mapped the Great Water with Lou Joliet. Native Americans from many tribes like Fox and Illini and Little Osage hunted and fished and told scary tales of the Piasaw bird and the men that it ate. Of course, Lincoln Douglas, their final debate. Lewis and Clark with their Pierrots and gear, NBA's Gallatin, Cheyenne's Clint Walker, and Robert, the tall, gentle giant, lived here. Steam-driven, smoke-belching paddle wheel boats, Sam Clemens ringing the brass pilot's bell, Miles Davis setting new standards in jazz, and the great rivers have their own story to tell. The wide Mississippi bends up toward the north to Grafton's high bluffs where the bald eagles preen. Its confluence there with the Illinois River creates a peninsula, fertile and green, Calhoun. It's locally known as the Kingdom. Rolling hills, hollers, the fields, apple trees. Then passing by Alton, East Alton, Wood River, the two mighty rivers turn southward and east. Riverbend, this is a world all its own. More than our words or a map could define. A balm for the soul, but alive and exciting, historic and timeless, all at the same time.
That's great, Don. Thank you so much for that. That was wonderful.
You're welcome.
You can get a copy of Don's book on Amazon, and I'm gonna save this and put that in the article too, because I think that's really cool. Don, thank you so much for your time. We'll take a quick break, and we'll link everything on a write-up on RiverBender.com. You stay there. I'll stay here on Roku TV, and we'll be back after this.
Throughout all life stages, you need someone in your corner, guiding you on your health and wellness journey. At OSF Healthcare, that's your primary care provider. Your OSF primary care provider is there for every stage of life. Find a provider today at osfhealthcare.org/primary.
Village Dispensary has the best deals in Godfrey, Illinois, with specials 5 days a week. Mondays, roll in the week with 20 to 30% off select pre-rolls. Tasty Tuesdays, enjoy 20 to 30% off select edibles. Waxy Wednesdays, enjoy 20 to 30% off select concentrate and vape brands. Thirsty Thursdays, sip and save with 20 to 30% off all drinks. Flower Friday, grab like 3.5 gram flower deals starting at just $20. Village Dispensary, come meet your best buds.
When you need a project done right, on budget and on time, trust Gillahan Concrete. Gillahan handles every kind of project, big and small. Commercial, industrial, residential, from room additions and garages to patios, driveways, and more. Gillahan brings quality and experience to every job. Family owned with over 30 years of service to our community. Call today at 618-781-3914 or visit GillahanConcrete.com.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
With over 20 years of experience, Wilson's Tree Service has the expertise to handle all of your tree care needs. Licensed and fully insured, their team of experts are dedicated to providing reliable service. Plus, with a 24-hour emergency service line, Wilson's will always be there for you. Don't risk tackling that timber by yourself. Trust the local professionals at Wilson's Tree Service. Visit treeservicealtonil.org to get started today.
Looking for the best barbecue in Madison County? Head over to Carver's Barbecue in Godfrey, Illinois. From loaded barbecue nachos to mouth-watering pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more, Carver's serves up award-winning flavors you'll love. Family-owned, Carver's is all about fresh, made in-house dishes served daily. Come visit us at 2716 Groveland in Godfrey, or give us a call at 618-467-9999. Order online, get it catered, or stop by for the best smoked meats around. Where great flavors meet family tradition, you'll find Carver's Barbecue.
You won't find a better health club than Nautilus Fitness Center. More cardio, more free weights and equipment, more classes, a swimming pool, and more. If you're serious about your health and want to make a change, then stop thinking about it and visit Nautilus Fitness Center on Industrial Drive in Alton. Don't fall for the hype you get from the other health clubs. Nautilus is the Riverbend's premier health club. Has been for years and will be for years to come. Get to Nautilus Fitness Center and get started on a healthier new you.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville.
I set the thermostat so my house would be warm when I got home from work, but the kitchen is still cool.
At Barrett Heating and Cooling, we stand behind every Lennox system we sell.
My dealer said he'd take care of everything.
At Barrett Heating and Cooling, we understand everyone wants prompt, professional service.
Turns out it wasn't my furnace after all, just a little something blocking the vent.
Pretty smart dog if you ask me. For service you can count on, call Barrett Heating and Cooling.
Lennox, innovation never felt so good.
Picture This and More has been a trusted name in the Alton community for more than 30 years, with the last 3 being right here on Broadway. We specialize in quality framing at affordable prices. We also feature works by local artists because we're proud of our community. If you have valued treasures to display and preserve, we're sure to have the perfect fit with our large selection of custom framing and display options. Whatever color, shape, or size, Picture This and More has the look you need. Stop by today and let us help you with your next project.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
just amazing. Welcome back, 1033, a little bit of change. Charles Mooneyham. Did I spell everything right? I didn't ask.
I didn't ask. Let me take a look here. Old man eyes here. All right. Yeah.
I can't see.
Yeah, it looks like it's spelled correctly.
I botch everything. Like, this has been... I didn't ask. I just said, CJ, you gotta be confident in yourself here.
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, that's the only way to be.
My name's Charles as well.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. We have Charles squared.
That's right.
Wonderful.
And only one Charles is in charge, and he's over there. Charles Mooneyham, now on State Street. And I was telling you beforehand, I love the fact that you're down here. I really do. It adds so much to the district to be a part of the Alton Main Street district, and you got great rivers and routes right there too. But to add this section to the corridor and have you a part of that walking experience is perfect.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting how I ended up here. I actually had no intention of opening a gallery whatsoever. I just moved to Alton about 2.5 years ago. My spouse is a professional tarot card reader, so spooky's good for business. So hey, and it's like I have ever since I looked at my house and really saw what Alton was turning into. It's like quickly becoming like the next Eureka Springs, Arkansas. And if you look at Eureka Springs, Arkansas, they have every single feature that we have here. Their entire community is based around haunted ghost tours. They have a famous biker bar. They have Native American springs and stuff like that. And it's rich in history and culture.
Yeah.
And it sounds kind of oddly familiar to me. I don't know. So, so when I first moved...
They even got a wedge building down there.
I know, right?
That's incredible.
It's a neat place. If you've never been, it's about it's just the other side of Branson. It is an amazing little staycation if you want to go far but not go too far.
Yeah.
So or now just come to Alton. Hey, because it's here. The culture's here, and interestingly enough, since I've started this journey, there's like over 20 famous artists living in Alton, and nobody really knew each other. It's really bizarre, but here we are. And but anyway, I digress. I said I recently moved here about 2.5 years ago. When I moved here, I wasn't making art. I've only been back in the art world for about 1 year and 2 months.
Fascinating.
I had previously worked for the last 20 years in behavioral health, most recently for the suicide hotline.
Wow.
And prior to that, I worked with kids with autism for like 15 years. So, the last almost 20 years of my life has been focused on behavioral health.
Mm-hmm.
Now, rewind in my past life, I was actually a hippie artist then, so that's what my original degree was in. In 2013, I went back to school for behavioral neuroscience and started, going down that path. During the pandemic, working for the suicide hotline, 988 went live. We were also taking 911 calls, veteran crisis line, and just to deal with the stress, I started painting again to, cope with the stress of the job.
100%.
And, I started out with just some pop art paintings of doing like horror icons or, whatever I wanted. And I started putting them out on Facebook, and, they were selling. And I'm like, oh, okay, so there's an interest here. And then, I decided I used to do art shows back in the day, and I had all this photography laying around, and I never really showed my photography before. And I'm like, let's put it in and see what happens. It was a joke. I got in. And then, 2 months later, I had a solo show at the Renaissance Hotel for photography. And I'm a painter. And I'm like, what is going on here? Okay, I'm going to run with it.
That's cool.
Then I decided that I was going to leave my job and just become a full-time hippie artist weirdo, and I couldn't think of a better place than Alton to do that. So I ultimately wanted my studio in Alton, but finding property was challenging at that time because I didn't know anybody in town yet. So I rented literally the porch of a building directly across the street from Josephine's over in Godfrey, and quickly painted myself out of room. By the end of... I'd say by August, I was in 7 different galleries in 2 states. And I was like, I need a bigger space. I need to get out of here. So then I moved my studio over to the Milton Schoolhouse. Started setting up there. And, that desire to continue to give back was still tugging at me. And, that's when I produced the Alton Art Expo, which was a benefit for Centerstone, which ironically is the last time I think I saw you. All
making sense.
The dude
now.
with a mohawk throwing out the first pitch.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, it's all coming back to me now. I feel like Celine Dion.
Well, So I produce Alton Art Expo, but the last thing I wanted to do was, produce an art fair where, the artists donate their work and give it away, and that's how money is generated.
Yeah.
So what I actually tried to do is kind of unheard of. So, it was a benefit for Centerstone to raise money. It was also to destigmatize access to behavioral health care, and then also allow artists an opportunity to make a living, and also show how art can be healing, so to speak. And, it was a first-year event. I did it in 3 months to build it out. And we had, over the course of the day and a half, because it was a 2-day event, we probably had almost 2,000 people come through.
Are you serious?
Yes. And as an entire group with all the vendors, I went through and interviewed everybody afterward. We did about $30,000 in art sales.
Are you
on top of the money and food that we generated for Centerstone?
That's incredible.
On a first-year event in Alton. So that told me right then and there, all right, we are on to something.
That's so cool.
Ideally, I produced one last art show at the Milton, and then I started to move downtown. And that show is still continued. So the show that started there is still up at the State Street location at 305 State Street. And it, the idea is I'd like to eventually bring the Alton Art Expo downtown, turn it into a street festival.
That'd be so cool.
And I want to expand the vendor list outside of just visual artists into musicians. Have a booth and sell your wares. Authors, poets, writers, theater groups, comedy groups, set it all up. And of course, I'd likely be keeping Centerstone as the fiduciary because I'm very passionate about their cause.
Me too. They're on the show twice a month for a reason. What they do, and really just from all aspects of behavioral health care and substance use disorder treatment, is just huge.
It's fantastic, and I love their wraparound approach. They're not just treating the person, they're not just treating the symptoms. They're treating the whole person, which also includes barrier removal, access to resources, etc.
I love them that they help their families too, and they try to get the family members on the same page.
Well,
that's so huge.
It's all about community, and that's what we're really trying to do here. And it's like, one of those situations to where the reason why it's so important for me is because, behavioral health is something that I myself have struggled with, and it's been rich in my family. My mom died by suicide. My aunt died by suicide. My half-brother died by suicide, and I'm an attempt survivor. And one of the things that how I got partnered up with Centerstone is they were really intrigued by my story, and I'm actually going to be their keynote speaker at Life Story, which is their 5K run.
In Marion, correct?
Yes, correct. I wish it was the one in Florida.
Yeah, come on now, Aaron. What are we doing?
I know, right? Yeah, I got you. I didn't get my jersey. All right. Mm-hmm.
I'll work on that.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm really excited about that and to destigmatize access to behavioral health and have more candid conversations with people about it's okay to not be okay. And there are organizations out there like Centerstone that can show you how to be okay when you're most definitely not.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of one of those things where if you look at my life, 20 years ago, I'm sitting there and, things are not well. And I was in an active attempt, and I had called a suicide hotline and cussed them out and hung up on them. I was in crisis.
Right.
So the next thing I know, the police come knocking on my door, bang, bang, bang. And I got a lovely free 7-day stay at Del Mar Metro State Hospital. Completely complimentary. And, but anyway, when I got out, that's when I decided to really make life changes. And, I always tell people my entire time working in applied behavioral analysis with kids with autism, those kids did more for me than I ever could do for them, and I was like, maybe I'll find an easier job as I'm getting older, and it can be very physically demanding. So I'll go for the suicide hotline. Not easier, especially when 988 went live and then the pandemic hit. It was just like it really made it brazenly obvious exactly what kind of crisis that we as a society are in.
100%.
And, I can think of no better way to lift up a community than through the empowerment of arts.
Yeah.
And, a couple of the things that I'm trying to do besides getting the expo moved downtown is I'm trying to put together a project by a famous artist named Craig Downs. He is internationally known. He lives in Portland part of the time and then down in San Pancho when it's cold. And
Fair.
he's the founder of the Wall Together Now project, which has occurred all over the United States. And he paints these big giant murals and puts numbers on them. And the entire community comes down, gets assigned a color and a team. And it is a community project because the ideology is behind it is team building, community building, and it's turning community into an asset.
Yeah.
Because people are going to take better care of things that they were a part of.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, and see, that's right. You hit on something with art and with entertainment, I think that's so important that we always forget about. You know, we're every time you turn on your TV, no matter what, unless you're like me and you got your YouTube TV pretty much figured out where you can remove channels and you can just be in your own space and be happy. But I mean, there's so much stress in the world, and whether or not it's financial or it's emotional stress or it's internal stress, mental health, there's so many times where you can see folks that are having just maybe you're watching your best friend for a couple of days or your significant other for a few weeks, just kind of not having the best days, just going rough for them. Right. But the moment that you can see somebody that's maybe had a little bit of a rougher time come out of their shell and really enjoy and immerse themselves in entertainment and culture and arts, it does more than, for me, in my opinion, just from what I've gone through, done more for me personally than really sitting down and talking, because it's just feeling the community and feeling the presence of a good atmosphere, Well,
it's that enrichment.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, there's a meme that's really popular on Facebook. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. And it shows a picture of McDonald's in 1994 and a McDonald's in 2025, and they're side by side. And the McDonald's in 1994 is red and blue,
right, it was
clowns, and now the 2025, it's gray and straight lines, and it looks like a prison.
It's like Very Odd Parents. Have you ever seen that show?
I have not.
Oh, you got to watch it. The greatest episode of cartoons ever made, and it was for kids, but it showed what it's like to become a blob and become grayscale and become merged into the fabric of society, and everyone turns gray, and it's so crazy. In 15 minutes to watching it now, I'm like, this makes sense. It's a snow globe effect.
Gotcha. Yeah. And so, above and beyond just the enrichment of how, art and culture can benefit somebody, it can also, just the act of making it on a neurological perspective, can reduce symptoms associated with PTSD, depression, anxiety. There are many clinical trials that have evidenced, and been replicated of the benefits of the healing power of arts.
Wow. You got a moment to stick around for me?
Oh, certainly.
I got to pay one last bill of the day. It's 10:45, a little bit of change. More of this great conversation comes right around the corner with the new neighbors of RiverBender.com, Mooneyham Art Collective, right after this.
When I got in the car accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone. And over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car, I have a job, there's nothing holding me back anymore.
Do you need to declutter your space? Time to call me, the Queen of Junk. Since 1993, we have grown to be the leader in residential, commercial, and property management junk removal. At Sparks Junk Removal, we are eco-friendly. We recycle, donate, or repurpose items back into our community. Trash is our last resort to the landfill. Plus, with our all-inclusive service, our crews handle everything from labor to lifting and landfill fees. Give us a call or visit our website, sparksjunkremoval.net, to reclaim your space today.
When you need a project done right, on budget and on time, trust Gillahan Concrete. Gillahan handles every kind of project, big and small. Commercial, industrial, residential, from room additions and garages to patios, driveways, and more. Gillahan brings quality and experience to every job. Family owned with over 30 years of service to our community. Call today at 618-781-3914 or visit GillahanConcrete.com.
Looking for the best barbecue in Madison County? Head over to Carver's Barbecue in Godfrey, Illinois. From loaded barbecue nachos to mouth-watering pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more, Carver serves up award-winning flavors you'll love. Family-owned, Carver's is all about fresh-made in-house dishes served daily. Come visit us at 2716 Groveland in Godfrey, or give us a call at 618-467-9999. Order online, get it catered, or stop by for the best smoked meats around. Where great flavors meet family tradition, you'll find Carver's Barbecue.
Have a rash, pink eye, or urinary tract infection and need care now? OSF On-Call Urgent Care is here to treat you. Start a virtual visit 24/7, whenever and wherever you need it. It's just that easy. osfoncall.org/virtual visit.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
You wanna stay out with your fancy friends? I'm telling you, it's gotta be the end. Don't bring me down.
10:48. Welcome back. Daily Show on this Monday morning. All right. I told you I bought something in an interview. I'm just going to break the ice now.
Okay.
Mooneyham Arts.
Yeah, Mooneyham Art.
I don't know why I did art.
Yeah. So basically, Mooneyham Art it's not an artist collective. It is a curated gallery space. I am creating an environment for intermediate emerging artists to be able to show with regional, national, and international artists. While I spent the last 20 years, running off trying to save the world, the rest of my friends were out becoming, famous artists and rock stars. And it's like, so now I'm back to the arts, and they're like, come on, Charles, catch up. Where have you been, bro? And then I'm like, I call up some of my friends. I'm like, you remember when we did that show in 1990? You kind of owe me a favor. So, I'm going to call in some favors, right? So my current international artist is that Craig Downs gentleman I told you about, who is currently putting together the Wall Together project, and he does that all over the country, and he shows all over, and he's done wine labels, hospitals, and then I'll find emerging local talent that is exceptionally talented. Yeah. So like Natalie Wellborn out of Godfrey, we got Rhonda Willman out of Brighton, we've got Mary Berry from Jersey County, and what I'm doing is I'm taking my platform. And I'm taking emerging artists with exceptional talent and pairing them in exhibits next to national and international artists, because it's kind of an incubator for their careers to launch them forward. They might not otherwise have an opportunity this early in their career to show with some of these names, and let alone do it in a more rural community. Yeah. And it's kind of like when they did like that Jim Henson exhibit. They didn't put that in New York or Chicago where they could have. Right. They put it in a small town, and the museum that held that exhibit, they were like, this was the largest event we've ever had in history. And I think that's key right now, because often at times these rural communities are often what's overlooked. In budgeting, access to care, cultural enrichment. Well,
you're right, and I think that sometimes, especially when it comes to the cultural enrichment, whether or not it's entertainment or music, art, it all falls in the same category. But a lot of times, like, you're right, people will live for that. Like if you know that, hey, John Smith is investing, in the town to bring this really great event coming together. It's going to be a weekend of art, or it's going to be a weekend of live music, or it's going to be a couple of nights of just, shopping experiences. People are going to come out for that, especially in communities like you said. They don't get that very often.
Exactly.
It's so important. Well, so you saw the spot on State Street. It was a quick turnaround. I know that. Yeah. Was it just one of those things where you saw it and said, let's go ahead and do it? Or what was that final conversation?
Well, what had happened was, after I had got done with the expo, I was helping out the Jacoby Arts Center. They were going to paint their floors, and I was like, no, don't paint the floors. So I was like, rent the sanders, and I'll do it. And I'm thinking, because I just got done with this event, I'm producing another event, and I'm moving my store. So of course, let's refinish some floors while we're at it. Yeah. Come on, Ray. And the funny thing about it is, the last time I did floors, I was like 30 years old. Okay, I'm going to be 50 this year.
No kidding.
Yeah. So
man, how do I learn your secrets? I'm 25 and I got a lot of. I'm like a Honda Accord, a lot of city miles, and it's showing.
Yeah, well, but it'll turn 300. It's a Honda Accord, man. Right. Come on. It is definitely not a Kia.
That's right.
But, so anyway, I started sanding their floors, redoing their floors, and I was like looking for a space, and I emailed Rachel, and then Rachel emailed Sarah, and then Sarah got a hold of me and said, I know this place that would be perfect. And it's right across the street from the new Jacoby, which was great. And then you got Bluff City Bazaar right around the corner. Yeah. There's another gallery getting ready to open up in Alton. It's super top secret. Nobody knows about yet, but they just signed a lease on a space. It's going to be more of a photography gallery.
That's cool.
Which, how many photographers are Alton, for crying out loud? And there's no photography gallery. Come on.
That doesn't make sense.
And then, I got in touch with the landlord, and he loved my vision and what I'm trying to do. And, I moved into the space. Originally, I was going to take both, but then I just decided to take the one side for now, just to kind of let the dust settle because it's been a busy year. So I started building out the space in between doing all the other things. And it got to the point to where I was down to the last coat that needed to go on the floor, and Rachel's like, Charles, I think you're gonna fall down. We'll take care of the last coat. And I'm like, thank you, because I'm like trying to get my store open. So it's like, thank you. I think it was like, Charles is turning pale. What's going on? So so I have direct thanks to the Jacoby Art Center and Sarah McGibney from What's Up. Alton Main Street for helping me find the space, and I've gotten tons of community support. It's been fantastic.
Well, it's just cool to see that, and really just to hear your story too a little bit more and get to know you. And that's why I like having these conversations, and we're doing the small business spotlights this next couple of months, because it's good to meet the people that are behind it, and no one's ever going to know unless we talk about it. Just the community side of things, like helping Jacoby with the floors, and having that collaboration with Sarah and Rachel and Centerstone and all these different pieces. It makes it such a, I think, not more important, because it always is important, but I think it puts a bigger spotlight on all the pieces of a puzzle that it takes to truly get something to go. Yeah. And just to hear that is really fascinating.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's like the thing that's I think the reason why it's finally all coming together and it's finally working, because I know a lot of these pioneers in Alton have been swinging an uphill battle this whole way. Right. And now all of a sudden it's finally starting to work. And I think it comes right back to community, because we're all willing to play together now. Yeah. We're helping each other, and community lifts a society up.
You have to be the tide.
Exactly.
Well, because we're running out of time a little bit, let's go through the hours of operate. When can we come in and see you? How does this work?
Oh, certainly. I am open Thursday through Sunday. I open up at noon every day. I stay open late depending on what's going on in the city. I'm open late for night markets. Every 6 to 8 weeks, I'll be producing artist receptions, which are free to the public. The first one is July 5th from 5 to 9. To be artist Marty McKay and her iconic eagle photographs.
She is the best, isn't she, at taking those?
Oh, definitely. And then the David Bailey, the sculptor who's hiding in the woods back there. If you've ever driven through Alton and you see these random giant sculptures, I found him. And
no way!
And we're going to try to get him placed throughout the city, which is something that I know that Sarah's been working on too. And he's also a phenomenal jeweler, so I'm also now carrying his sterling silver high-end jewelry in the gallery as well. So he will be the other featured artist July 5th, and that reception's from 5 to 9, and we'll have free pastries, free beverages.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
It's just amazing because, we at the show, I go in to talk to different youth groups and stuff that I do sometimes, and it's always just trying to express to them and stress that Alton has all these really cool things. The Riverbend region has the things that you're looking for elsewhere, and it's good now to see this kind of wave of momentum for them, and whether it's in arts or entertainment and culture, or if it's just in what they want to do in business, it's all coming together. And I think it's going to retain the younger people, and these initiatives and these events that you're putting on help with that immensely.
Well, I think the important thing is I think that our local government is starting to realize, of course, sports brings a lot of tourism in, and we need to talk about that because, it's what brings the money to the community. Yeah. But second to tourism is art.
100%.
I mean,
100%. There's no argument
sports,
with it.
Second to that is
And I think it goes hand in hand because you can't really have a successful city with only having one of the two. I think you have to have both.
Yeah.
Well, and now going forward, what's your plans for the summer? Is there anything that's on your mind when it comes to? I know you're wanting to bring the Art Expo. Is that a next year thing for you?
Well, the Art Expo will be next year, and thank you for that wonderful segue. So you've got this amazing parking lot attached to the building that is also my studio. It would, after you guys are closed, it's empty. It would be really nice if I could start, maybe producing, some art events in the RiverBender parking lot and maybe team up with you guys.
That'd be cool. We have to get you connected to the building owners.
Yeah.
John and Mark, we'll get you connected with them. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And see, that's what I think is so, we talk to business owners that have been here for 40 years and all that, and hearing how the old school way of doing things, of working together and being a team, it's coming back. It's so cool. And Charles, before I let you go, what's the best way to stay up to date on all the information you have? I know you have a Facebook and a website.
Yes, certainly.
What's the most updated?
Probably the easiest thing to do would be to go to the website, because the website is landing on the brand. It'll take you everywhere.
Yep.
So mooneyhamart.com. and you can click the Facebook link. There is a upcoming show list, as well as information about the expo, as well as a little bit of everything, really. And that'll take you to our Facebook page, where you can always follow us, and that is updated daily.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Hey, thanks for having me so much.
Well, anytime you want to come back on, please feel free to do so.
Oh, excellent.
We're out of time. Damn, it's 11 o'clock. I will see you back here live at 9 for more of our daily show tomorrow. Until then, only one rule: try your best to stay out of jail.